SPLC President resigns amid racism, sexism scandal at organization. So for those that are unaware what the SPLC is, that is the hate group also known as the Southern Poverty Law Center.
They are a activist organization that essentially goes around labeling other groups as hate groups while themselves essentially doing the very thing they accuse others of.
Right, absolutely.
Do they label themselves?
No.
I heard it. No.
Of course.
If they
I'd
did,
heard that
would be
somewhere.
hilarious, but that sounds like an Onion article or something, or like something from the
Yeah. Southern Poverty Law Center brands itself as a racial leftist ideology hate group. Like the Onion article writes itself.
The sad part is, who knows?
Hell, they might actually do it. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that labels anyone who disagrees with the radical leftist ideology as a hate group. The most famous one, I actually used them in a bit of a Facebook argument I was in as a demonstration of insane leftist ideology. They labeled Majid Nawaz, I think he's the co-founder and CEO, I'd have to double check on that, of a group, of a non-profit group that's sole purpose is to de-radicalize radical Muslims.
He's also a regular contributor and host on LBC, which is a English
and a Muslim himself, but he's a Islamophobe.
Yeah, moderate Muslim. Just so everyone's clear, he is a man of the faith, as far as we know.
Yep.
But, he's a moderate, a liberal Muslim, as it were. You know, one of the good guys.
Yeah. And his organization and him got labeled as part of a hate group for trying. So, because he was the article I read was he was too radical. He was radicalized in de-radicalizing people. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Literally, what the fuck does that mean?
Anyway, long story short, he filed a lawsuit against them and won.
Yep.
And they had to redact their claim and apologize to him. I believe there was also monetary compensation.
Yep, absolutely.
Well. So good on him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's who the Southern Poverty Law Center is. They're horrid. Amid accusations of racism and sexism at the anti-hate organization, I love that the Daily Wire put anti-hate in quotation marks because that's exactly what they are. President Richard Cohen has now resigned a little more than a week after the group fired co-founder and chief litigator Morris Dees. Cohen wrote the statement announcing Dees' firing, making his resignation especially surprising. As a civil rights organization, the SPLC is committed to ensuring that the conduct of our staff reflects the mission of the organization and the values we hope to instill in the world. When one of our own fails to meet those standards, no matter his or her role in the organization, we take it seriously and must take appropriate action. So this is kind of like what the Justice Democrats did to Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kulinski, where it was probably bullshit. They get kind of hooked on the idea of like, well, we got to purge the non-believers, the heretics, as you will.
Wait, Kyle got in trouble with them?
With the Justice Democrat, with SPLC? No, not SPLC. What happened?
No, I mean, with Justice.
Yeah, he said, yeah, he's not part of it anymore.
Oh.
He stepped out of it when Cenk left.
Huh.
Yeah, I think he caught fire for defending Cenk, essentially.
Yeah.
Memory serves.
Yep.
Oh.
So what they do is they go over your entire past. They try to find anything at all that you have ever said that possibly makes you look like a bad person in their eyes, because it doesn't agree with their ideology of the day. And then they try to tank your career.
Yep.
Well, just another purity spiral, I guess.
Yep.
It's people from the bottom being crabs in the bucket, pulling down the people at the top over next to nothing. And it just keeps happening.
Yep.
Like, the leader of the SPLC got pulled down over something. I don't know what. Maybe it is just another crab bucket situation. Maybe he did do something. We should probably read on and figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cohen's statements also discussed steps the center would be taking to correct issues within the organization, which included bringing in an outside organization to conduct a comprehensive assessment of our internal climate and workplace practices to ensure that our talented staff is working in the environment that they deserve, one in which all voices are heard and all staff members are respected. This sounds like a trusted safety team.
Ooh, boy.
Or a ministry of truth.
Climate and workplace practices in line with everyone being heard and respected.
Gross.
No. What if you have a shithead who just sits around all day, contributes nothing? Why should he be heard and respected?
Right.
Because he deserves respect, of course.
Beyond a human being? No.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond being human and having a partially functional brain.
Like, you don't afford respect to the jackass who's pulling the cart backwards while everyone else is trying to pull it forwards.
Right.
You fire that dude.
You fire that guy because he's terrible at his job.
He's not just terrible at his job, he's actively trying to stop the organization from doing what it's doing.
Right.
And okay, maybe in this case, it's not a bad thing. But in most cases, if your organization is built to, provide a service, and if it's providing that service well, you shouldn't hang on to people who are actively trying to hinder the provision of that service.
Right.
Anyway, so where were we? WAPO, I think?
The Washington Post obtained an email written by Cohen about his own resignation, which said, "Whatever problems exist at the SPLC happened on my watch, so I take responsibility for them." Well, at least good on you for that, I guess. And I hope that everyone will let the process play out before jumping to conclusions. Wait a minute. Is this a leftist saying that we should let all the facts play out? Is that what I'm getting
So
here?
what we're seeing is a guy is getting maybe Me Too'd.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to be Me Too'd, even though he supported Me Too.
Yep.
Comprehend my confusion.
Cohen's email continued, "We can't be calling for a review and simultaneously casting blame before that review is complete." Holy shit!
So what we're seeing is apparently the last sane voice leaving the SPLC.
Yep.
Well, allegedly sane.
Right.
It had to happen sometime.
Do you think he'd be saying that if someone else in his organization was getting kicked out?
Oh, probably not. You know the self-awareness doesn't spin that way, man. You know it doesn't.
The self-awareness never seems to kick in until it happens to them.
Right.
It's like, oh, what have I created?
A fucking monster that all of us were saying you should never. This is proof positive of exactly why you should never allow social justice ideology and progressive ideology into your organization, because it does this. Like this, because it's gonna rip you down, it's gonna tear you to shreds, and it's gonna, the organization that you're controlling, that you run at that point, is gonna be a shadow of its former self.
It's going to destroy you, it's going to destroy the organization, and the organization, in whatever form it is going to try to destroy everything else around it. Anything that it can with the former power and former voice that you had given it,
right,
any legitimacy you built into it, will be bastardized and used against anyone and anything it considers enemies.
Yep.
It happens every single time.
It happens. It's like you can count it down. Like you can just watch as it happens. Okay, so they're at this point. Okay, so they should be going to this point here. It's just nuts. The Post also reported that SPLC's legal director Rhonda Brownstein resigned Thursday as well. A week before Dees was fired, a female black attorney resigned. Wow.
That's not going to do well for their diversity numbers.
Right? Sending an email explaining that the experiences of staff of color and female staff have been particularly important to me. I imagine my shock. And that the organization must ensure that the SPLC is a place where everyone is heard and respected, and where the values we are committed to pursuing externally are also being practiced internally. The day after Dees was fired, the Los Angeles Times reported on an internal memo sent to staff of the organization suggesting that although he made unparalleled contributions to our work, no one's contributions can excuse that person's inappropriate conduct. First off, what's the inappropriate conduct? Like, let's.
Reading.
24 employees. Okay, so there's the next section. Got it. All right. 24 employees reportedly signed a letter to management and the center's board of directors detailing allegations of mistreatment, sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and racism. The outside help hired to review the company's operating procedures was attorney Tina Chen, who previously worked as former First Lady Michelle Obama's chief of staff. Cohen's resignation will reportedly make it easier for Chen to do her job as the organization's board plans to meet to find a new president. Every workplace, including social justice organizations, well, there it is, guys. Right there. They even admit it themselves. It's in their own fucking words. Must work hard to create a workplace culture that fully reflects their values and priorities, including when it comes to racial and gender diversity.
I'm sure nobody
Wait,
has
hold
had
the
at
fuck
any-
on, Chen. Why are you making it so clearly about racial and gender diversity after firing a white dude?
because that way they don't need to report on the fact that somebody is getting better off after this fact.
Right.
Well,
Like, there's no-
I shouldn't say she was firing. It's probably the board that fired him.
Probably, but like, there's probably somebody benefiting from this.
Well, we'll see when the board makes their appointment, but like, I don't want to assume this is all racially motivated because that is a really, really cheap and easy cop out. I can't imagine that all of these allegations are necessarily true because who knows? We don't have the facts. It's just allegations, and I would like to afford the man the same, shall we say, what are the words I'm looking for here? I'm trying to afford him the same, essentially, right to his day in court as anyone else would be given.
I get you. Yep.
He deserves the benefit of the doubt until we have the evidence before us.
Yep.
So he's been alleged. We don't know. I mean, we can joke about it if we want, but let's not pretend he's been handed a guilty verdict.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
SPLC's internal review appears aimed solely at how employees of the organization are treated, rather than how the center determines who is considered a hate group, a distinction that has led to targeted violence, a 2012 shooting at the Family Research Council's Washington, D.C. headquarters. I was not aware of that.
Neither was I. Granted, the Family Research, well, I'm not going to sit here and excuse a shooting at anyone.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Though I don't necessarily agree with some of the things the Family Research Council has done in the past.
Right. Absolutely.
Shootings are always a step too far.
They don't deserve to be shot at.
100% agree.
They might be shitheads, but no one deserves to have their life threatened.